Hey, I'm back again. Aren't you impressed with my stamina here, guys? I mean, come on. It's day 4 of UX in 5. All right, so today, what I'd like to talk about is a little bit more kind of getting deeper into what UX is. I like to think of UX as a combination of two things: knowledge and process, right? So that's really the things that UX folks bring to the table. And normally you would have a multidisciplinary team of individuals who have different types of knowledge. So that's what we're going to concentrate on this UX in 5 session is what are the kind of knowledge that you need to really understand how to do UX. So I like to think about the knowledge that all of us bring in sort of a way that is related to the skills that human beings have. So I'm going to talk really briefly about 7. You like all my numbers here with my fingers? 7 different areas of human skills that are really important when you do UX. All right, so the first one, probably pretty obvious: vision. Knowledge of vision includes how people see and how that then influences their thinking abilities, basically, or information processing. So you will find people who are visual designers to be experts in sort of visual perception. So their knowledge has to do with color, how we perceive color, how it draws our attention, how we perceive pleasing layouts of elements, how we see elements that are grouped together versus separated by white space, that kind of thing. So that's sort of a big one no matter what kind of thing you're designing, because vision is one of our dominant human sensory channels. Second one is hearing. So obviously this becomes important if you're doing things like movie soundtracks or radio or music or anything like that. Again, there's lots of auditory biases or auditory sort of phenomenon that affect how people hear and understand. So that's, you can come with specific expertise in hearing that depending on what you're actually building. The third area, this is kind of a big one too, is motor skills. And this is both fine and gross motor skills. And by that, I mean fine motor is, how you're picking up things like with your hand, writing or what have you. So if you're building things that require a lot of motor control, having people who are experts in those areas is important versus walking, which is a gross motor skill. Then there's cognitive skills. So I'm a cognitive psychologist, and really the expertise is in how people think and process information. In fact, this poster that you've seen behind me is actually a list of all the cognitive biases and processes that influence how we think in unusual ways. As you can see, there's a lot of them. Speech and language is another one. When you are particularly designing speech technology, it's important to understand how people speak, how they respond to other speakers, or in the case of like Alexa, a speaking machine. And then finally, as technology has gotten more and more sophisticated, the other area that has really come into play but is a lot less common for professionals is social interaction. So, when you think about things like robotics and artificial intelligence, and even things like chat, multimedia, video conferencing, what I'm doing today, experts in social interaction can really help with understanding, what are the natural tendencies we all have as humans in how we interact. So in all of these areas, there are sort of natural, like sort of instinctual or automatic behaviors we have, and then other things that cause more that are more sort of willful, and we have to actually think about more in order to affect them. So in all cases, regardless of what you're building, it's important to identify which of our human behaviors are impacted the most and bring knowledge of them to the product design. So you heard my timer. That means my time is up for today. So that is your quick primer on UX knowledge, and I will catch you next time.